Welcome to the countdown. I am your countdown host, MJ Book. And welcome to our second Halloween countdown special. I hope you enjoy it. However, if you don't, I'll make sure that you enjoy it. Because I will. Well, I'm not going to do anything to you. Don't worry. Welcome to the countdown. I am your host, MJ Book, back for another episode here in the world of the countdown. Of course, you are hopefully hearing Halloween theme by John Carpenter, Cody Carpenter, Daniel Davies, theme to the famous Halloween franchise. This one comes from the 2018 movie Halloween, the classic Halloween of recently, classic. Of course, we recently had the sequel, Halloween Kills. Hopefully you listened to that review that me and the real Big E, Eric from Third Generation Wrestling did. Hopefully you liked it. It was a lot of fun to do, and it was just a blast to do that. But welcome to the countdown. We're here to do some more Halloween. Now, last year I had my buddy Eric with me. Don't have him here with me this time, so I'm alone by myself here in the 123 studios. However, I did decide to spend a little bit of extra money to try to improve this show, and I have a new camera. So hopefully the camera's working good, because normally these episodes by myself, I don't put on YouTube as far as a video, but this one I decided needed, because it's a special episode, I decided this one would be on YouTube. So I hope you enjoy this episode. This is going to be a fun countdown, as I'm going to be counting down my favorite horror characters. Now, what I mean by that, it could be a supernatural character. I mean, you see all the characters that are back here. You see aliens, you see serial killers, just humans, clowns, demons, Satan, vampires, nightmare masters, regular humans, no power, you name it. Some of these characters have been in multiple movies. There's some of those back there that have only been in one, but they captured our imagination, frightened us, or maybe they didn't frighten us, but we certainly enjoyed the ride watching the movie. So I hope you enjoy this ride. Do want to throw out there before I get started with this countdown that I recently, as recording this, did another episode with Buzzing with Marlo. Hopefully that he told me he was going to be posting that about a week or so after we recorded it. So look out for that. As soon as it gets posted, I'll make sure to post it also on my Facebook. So if you want to listen to me and Marlo talking about comic book movies, talking about DC, talking about Marvel, definitely something to listen. It'll be something to listen to, like going on there. And please check out Buzzing with Marlo as well. Third Generation Wrestling. We just got done recording just the other day, finishing up the Halloween special there. We watched High Tension. You want to know what me and Rob and Eric thought? Please hop over to Third Generation Wrestling and listen to our review of that movie. We each got to choose one. Eric chose Heredity. I chose House of a Thousand Corpses. Rob chose High Tension. So please listen to those three series of movie reviews for Halloween. This is the countdown Halloween special, though. So, like I said, counting down our favorite horror characters. So, without further ado, and here we go. Let's get started with the countdown. This is a 10-spot countdown. And do I have some honorable mentions? Yes, I do. And I'll mention some of these periodically, but I'll mention a couple right now. The Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Yeah, I know, stupid, but I love them. In fact, they're right there. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Dracula, The Blob, Frankenstein Monster, and a high honor. This is something new I'm doing. A high honor will go to him, Norman Bates. Now, back in the day, some kids may not, I don't think kids do this anymore, but when I was in school, you would get a bag and you would cover your textbooks with it just to be kind of different or whatever. And you write all over that, or you'd put pictures all over that, or you could slide stuff into your Trapper Keeper. I had a picture of Norman Bates on my Trapper Keeper. It was this picture, and people would look at it and think, something's a little wrong with you, bro. I mean, he was a killer in a movie, very good movie. Is that strange? Am I strange for that? I don't think so. But high honor, Norman Bates, the Psycho movies, the first Psycho movie, classic. Unfortunately, the movies progressively got worse through that. Of course, there was a TV show. I've never watched it, and but it's all about the original, and I do mean the original, not the reboot, remake, whatever with Vince Vaughn. I saw that. That was stupid. Norman Bates, high honor. Didn't quite make it into the countdown, but he gets a high honor. So let's get to our actual countdown here. Like I said, 10, and let's start with number 10. Some of y'all may not agree with me by having this person on as number 10, but this is a horror character that I thoroughly enjoyed. Reshaped the horror genre, of course, and some would say for the worse. I don't think it was for the worse. It was a time, and it was a character I enjoyed. Number 10 is, of course, Ghostface from the Scream franchise. Horror was kind of in trouble before Scream came along, and Scream came in and just tore it up and changed the genre overnight. You can argue this may have had too many movies. I own the first three. I own a box set, and I love the first three movies. The fourth one I could have done without. They're doing a fifth one, even though I know I shouldn't see it. I'm going to. There is a TV show on MTV. I don't watch that. I just don't think I would like that show, so I just stay away. I will end up watching the fifth movie. I don't know why, but I'm a fan of the Scream franchise, and Ghostface. I have this costume. It's in my closet, buried somewhere. This was a different type of horror character than we had seen before. The costume was so outlandish, but at the time, it there was just something about it. So everybody had this costume, or at least the mask. Everybody had the voice thing. Hello, Sydney. And everybody was doing stuff like that with the voice modulator, calling people up. The Scream franchise, say what you want, but this is an interesting character, and you never knew who it was, of course, under there. And it was hid very well. You couldn't see anything about the killer. You couldn't tell if it was white, black, Asian, Mexican, male, female. You really couldn't tell. So they hid this. This was an interesting character. I've worn the mask, though. It would be a little difficult because you have you can't see your sides very well in this thing. So plus there's the hood that just makes it even worse. So, and plus, the things are rather long. So you could actually, by running, trip on yourself. So it's not meant for running, really. But this was an interesting character. Ghostface. Like I said, I shouldn't see the fifth one, but I know I will. He's my number 10. Ghostface from the Scream franchise. Number 9. Number 9 is a group, and this group only appeared in one movie. Now, this movie did have some sequels, but they were direct to DVD. Never watched them, never will. But this movie, for some reason, as a kid, it scared me. I have no idea why this movie used to scare the crap out of me. My mother she did not want me watching this movie at night when I was real little. Eventually, I got to a point where it didn't scare me anymore. But as a little kid, for some odd reason, this group scared the absolute bejesus out of me. They are the Lost Boys from the movie The Lost Boys. These group of vampires. Led, of course, by Kiefer Sutherland. I don't know. I can't explain why this group terrified me so, but I guess that's a compliment because they did their job well. They did their job very, very well. The movie itself, some folks would look at it as very, very stupid. And I can understand the argument there. I really can. But I think it's a classic. It's got one of the greatest movie soundtracks of all time. And the acting, I don't think was that bad in this movie. It made vampires terrifying. You want to make, should they all be just drop dead sexy and all that stuff? No, come on, let's make these vampires scary. And these vampires were terrifying. And I love the effect of, they're flying and you're seeing their vantage point, but you never really see them flying. That to me made them even more terrifying. Of course, there's four of them. Kiefer Sutherland played David. Gosh, I'm trying to remember these names. Brooke McCarter played Paul. Billy Worth, Dwayne, and Alex Winter was Marco. And of course, you had Jamie Gertz as Star and that little brat kid. But this also starred the Coreys, of course, Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, Jason Patrick was in this as well, Diane West in this, Edward Herman. This was such a classic movie. These vampires were, to me, the most, and people may think this is funny when I say it, but it's just the truth. They were the most terrifying vampires to me. They scared the absolute crap out of me. Dracula never scared me. I love several Dracula movies. They could be violent, they could be grotesque, they entertain me, but the character has never scared me. These vampires scared the absolute crap out of me. So that's a compliment to this movie. And it was directed by Joel Schumacher, who would go on to direct the worst comic book movie of all time, Batman and Robin, and the worst movie of all time, Batman and Robin. So don't know what happened in between there, but Lost Boys, amazing movie. Highly recommend it. I own it. It's a great, great movie. And it is number 9 as far as these characters, as far as my favorite horror characters, the Lost Boys. All right, number 8. There's somebody out there that's going to love this one. And it's Rob, buddy, this one's for you, sir. The Thing. For those who have not watched The Thing, the original, which thanks to Rob I own, the effects in it could be somewhat laughable, but at the time, this movie was thought of as one of the most disgusting, gross movies ever made. And it's kind of funny that people have that opinion of it, but that's what people thought. This movie shocked a few people because of how gross it was. The Thing, of course, they made the original Thing. Then, of course, they would go on to make a prequel. The prequel ties in perfectly with the original. But, of course, to me, there's still nothing better than the original. The effects, of course, are better in the prequel. But some of the effects in The Thing hold up well. Some of them are just plain laughable. But the thing about this creature is it can impersonate anybody. You never know. You could be talking to the Thing right there next to you. You could be conversing with the Thing, and you don't know until the Thing decides to kill you. And it's not a pleasant way that you die. It's not very pleasant. And they just did this movie so well, capturing the isolation of being up at the Arctic. They did this movie so damn well. This is one of those movies. They don't make good horror movies like this anymore. There's been a lot of crappy horror movies. I mean, the horror genre itself has changed so many times, but it's hard to find a movie that can cross through all the different genres and still be good. This movie did that. Somehow, this movie did that. So big time props to the filmmakers. John Carpenter, the horror master in a way. The Thing. This is a classic. Gotta watch this. It's a must. If you have not watched The Thing, again, it's gross. It could be extremely gross, but it is so brilliant. And this is a truly terrifying creature because everybody else has a set form. You know what they look like. They don't change in form. This is who they are. The Thing could be so many different people, and that's what makes it truly, truly terrifying. You just never know. And it is violent what this thing can do to you. So definitely recommend it. Number 8, The Thing. Boy. 7. Number 7. Number 7 is an interesting one because this is, of course, a franchise that is splintered off into another franchise and another genre. Is all over the comic book realm. This is, believe it or not, for those who don't know this is a movie monster horror character who has actually fought Batman in a story. Not making it up. You can look it up if you don't believe me. But the number 7 horror character is Xenomorph himself or herself, Alien. Now, the Alien franchise has been through some shit. Let's just be honest. It has. It started off so well with the first one, Alien. Aliens you could argue some would say is even better than Alien. Then you get to Alien 3, and it's like, ugh. And that's part of the studio made that one such a piece of crap. And Alien Resurrection is just, it's ironic that they howl at Resurrection because it practically murdered it murdered the franchise. And then you get into the Prometheus and all this, the couple of new ones that came out, which I wasn't into any of them. So I stayed as far away from both those movies as I could. So for me, I have a box set of the Alien movies. It's an Alien anthology Blu-ray set. It's the first 4 movies. I can very comfortably watch the first 2, no problem. The third one, it has some moments. I don't even pay attention to Resurrection. It's in there, but I'm not going to watch it. But the xenomorph is a truly terrifying creature, and it's kind of like the butterfly. The butterfly. It's got a preform before it becomes that butterfly. And with the old xenomorph back here, you got that face hugger, and with that, the face hugger. It's terrifying what that thing does. It hugs your face and it lays eggs in you. And at first you don't even realize it did it and you think you're fine. Then all of a sudden, and we saw it in the movie Alien, and we've seen it before in movies since, chest burst or bursts out your chest, goes away, and it comes back looking like this. Truly a terrifying creature. And while the other movies made the creature more visible, what I liked about Alien is just you barely saw it. You would almost never see it. You knew it was around, but it was truly terrifying. That scene with Tom Skerritt in the shaft, when he's just looking back and forth with the light, truly terrifying. And the tagline said it all: in space, nobody can hear you scream. So it's, in some respects, the first one is the best one, but in some respects, Aliens is the best one. I have no problem with anybody saying either of those 2 movies are the best of the Alien franchise. Just don't say any of the other ones are. Something's wrong with you if you say any of them are. Don't say it. Please don't say it. But Alien franchise, this is a truly, truly terrifying creature. This is one of those things even if you blast it with a gun with holes all over, its blood is made of corrosive acid. So if its blood hits you, it could still kill you. It could kill you with its blood. That's just, it blows up, blood splurts all over, you burn yourself. So how do you beat something like that when it could die and still kill you from its blood? So a truly terrifying creature. This is definitely, if you open the door and that thing is standing there, you're like, well, life was good. I'm about to die, and you're dead. That's it. You're just dead. You don't even get a chance to think the thought of, well, life was, you're dead. So the xenomorph, Alien, number 7, a franchise that has been through some crap, and some folks don't even think of this as a horror movie. I know some folks think of this as more sci-fi. It's the same thing with The Thing. I've actually heard people think that The Thing is a little bit more in the sci-fi realm, but this is my opinion. And to me, these are horrors, at least in the original. It did get to a point where it became more sci-fi than anything. And I can understand then the comparisons. And that might be the problem. It became way more sci-fi toward the end, where at the beginning, yes, there's science fiction elements, but this was terror, horror, maybe psychological at times, not grotesque, but horror nonetheless. Number 7, the xenomorph, Alien. Number 6. And it kind of hurts me putting this one at number 6, but I have my reasons. Number 6 is a classic character that has appeared on the small screen and the big screen. And you probably already know who this character is, but there are some debates on who played this character the best. I know my answer probably disagrees with your answer. Nevertheless, number 6, Pennywise the Clown, the It creature. Now, recently, of course, there was the 2 It movies, It and It Part 2, starring, this is the Pennywise from those movies. The miniseries, of course, It, Pennywise the Clown, was played by Tim Curry over here. Now, there are many people who prefer this portrayal. I just can't bring myself to watch the movies because I'm more of a fan of Tim Curry's performance. That's the movie I have on Blu-ray. and I have it on DVD. I bought it on DVD first. I had it on VHS as well, but a few months ago I bought it finally on a special edition of it on Blu-ray. So I have finally the real version to me. Somewhere down the line, maybe I will finally get to a point where I will watch his version, and then I can probably judge it. Maybe I can do an episode on it. I don't know. Maybe a quickie or something. I don't know. But this character, I mean, the clown thing has been around for so long that people are so terrified of clowns. I never quite understood why. I mean, there's a lot of things out there, obviously, as far as the movies where we have killer clowns and all that stuff. But I've never understood people who have legitimate fears of clowns, not even the killer clowns, just regular circus clowns. There are people who are terrified. I never was that way. I mean, I like the killer clowns from outer space. Joker, of course, big fan of the Joker character. Pennywise the clown. And I could go to a circus and the clowns weren't affecting me there either. So, and of course, a few years ago, the whole clowns in public thing that was all over the world. You might not have seen a clown, but I did see one. During all that, I was just in my apartment. It was like, I think at this point, it was like 11 or so at night. And I went to, open my window to my apartment and I looked and there was just a clown standing there. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And I just paid him no mind. I paid him no mind. I even went outside and smoked a cigarette because I would have to do that. I wouldn't smoke in my apartment. I would go outside, sit on the front steps and just smoke a cigarette. And the clown was just standing there. And at one moment, he kind of walked a little bit toward me. I didn't react. So he didn't react. He didn't really do anything because he was trying to scare people. He noticed I wasn't scared. So he didn't do anything. He just wasn't good at it. He just wasn't good at it. He wasn't good. He wasn't intimidating. His makeup was cool though. But as far as Pennywise the clown, as far as the looks, I would say if you look at both of them, that one is pretty damn terrifying. If you just looking at that, if you were in an alley and you saw that, you would be a little bit concerned. If you saw this, you might not be as concerned. But then in the ways that makes him in a way more terrifying, because you're going to stay away from him probably pretty quickly. He's going to be able to walk right up on you. So I eventually I'm going to have to break down and watch his portrayal, and then I'll probably be able to judge to me who the best. To me, I'm going to say Tim Curry, but that's just because that's all I know. But the character of Pennywise the clown, I mean, it's just terrifying seeing this guy going after, little kids, he's killed. And right away, that scene in the sewer with Georgie, that was just terrifying. So this character didn't help the clown fears, maybe even started it on some levels. This character may have started that a bit, but tremendous and interesting character. Love Pennywise the clown. And Pennywise earns his spot on this countdown at number 6, Pennywise the clown. Okay, we are in the top 5. And number 5 isn't human. It's not a human being. It's alive, though. It's a living creature, just not a human. Doesn't walk, it swims, and eats. It's Jaws. This movie, this changed everything. You'll be afraid to go in the water. Truer words were never spoken. This thing was a huge blockbuster hit. And I've seen the stories and I've heard from people. People were legitimately afraid to go into the water because they were afraid of Jaws would be there to get them. Moment while I cough. Sorry about that. People were afraid that they were going to be eaten by a shark. So this movie did its job very well, terrifying you into thinking that there was a shark in the water. I can't swim at all. I just never wanted to learn how to swim. I live in Iowa. To me, there's no ocean. So to me, there's just not a reason to know how to swim. But also a part of the reason is this. I was like, I ain't getting in the water. I know what's in there. That was my earlier thinkings as a kid. It's like, there's a shark in there. I'm not going in there. Now, as an adult, obviously, that's not going to happen. But to me, I'm so far down the road as far as my age. I just don't see the point now. This franchise has had some potholes. Jaws 2, Not as good as the first one, but still a very good movie. Jaws 3, that one is kind of split amongst people. Some folks like it, some folks don't. It's not better than the original. It's not better than the second. It's the third best one, and that's fine. To me, there's nothing wrong with that. To me, it's completely watchable. I own it. Jaws the Revenge. Well, if you want to know what I think of Jaws the Revenge, then please watch or listen to me and Rob as we count down the worst movies ever. That should already tell you what I think of Jaws the Revenge. But this great white shark, and just think of how this movie has impacted the world. People are terrified of sharks. They just think of the great white. Shark Week. Think how big that is. Would there be a Shark Week had it not been for Jaws? Sharknado. Would have been created had it not been for Jaws? I mean, sharks have become a huge cash cow in some respects. The Megalodon, which is actually like that movie. I think that's actually a very good movie. The idea of a shark that damn big, very terrifying. This movie just captured. I'm gonna cough again. Wow. This movie just captured everything about the shark, and this shark was just so terrifying. The only thing more terrifying was the fact that it didn't work most of the time. And you can watch the documentaries about this shark. Bruce was a horrible, horrible machine, and that's why you didn't really see him that much in the original, because he just didn't work most of the time. But it added to the terror. You would see the shark's gaze in the water. You would know that in that music. I mean, just everything worked perfectly. The proper music, the proper cameras. I mean, it just worked perfectly to terrify you. And to this day, people are still, when you get into the water, how many times have you heard somebody start going, do, 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 do. I mean, everybody does it. It's a prank almost now. It's part of Americana. So Jaws, number 5, my favorite horror characters. An animal, the first actual creature animal on this list. The Thing doesn't really exist as far as we know. Vampires don't really exist as far as we know. Pennywise the Clown doesn't exist as far as we know. So Jaws, number 5. Oh boy, number 4. This is going to shock some folks. This one is going to shock some folks, but I have to be real and I have to be honest. Number 4, and once I do this, there's no taking this back. Number 4 is Freddy Krueger. I love the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, but the last few years have been rough with Freddy. They made that remake of Nightmare on Elm Street, which I hated it. Just no. I finally did break down and watch that thing. No, God, it was so stupid. I understand what they were trying to do. They were trying to make Freddy more terrifying and less comedic. I get it. And they succeeded. They made him more terrifying, but not the good terrifying. They made him more creepy and not the good creepy, because they really pushed the child thing in this. They really pushed that. And it's like, and I just didn't like his portrayal as Fred. It was just bad. It was a terrible, terrible, terrible remake. And the sad thing about the Freddy franchise is, if you really are honest with yourselves, the first few are the best ones. And after that, it just went one direction, down. Dream Warriors, to me, is actually the best of the entire franchise. And that's the third one. And after that, it only went one direction, down. So it's a shame. It's a real shame with this franchise. And other franchises kind of started to gain a little speed, potentially, or other franchises just maintained their course but never dipped. This one dipped, unfortunately. And it's because of the fact that it dipped. Even though I still love the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, it's in trouble. It's in trouble. And because, to me, it's in trouble, that's why I had to put this at number 4, because they've been disappointing me of late too much. You can't just keep disappointing. You got to get this thing right. I didn't like Freddy vs. Jason. I thought that thing was stupid. So the character is disappointing me way too much. Now, also the part of the thing is, who else can play that thing, Freddy, other than Robert Englund? The idea of anybody playing that character is ridiculous, and that's a part of the problem. Nobody's going to be able to compete with him. Nobody. They tried it, and it was a failure. People just say, well, we'd rather have Robert Englund, who Robert has said he'd play Freddy again, and I'd watch it. I don't care how old he is. I'd still watch it. Freddy, maybe he was a little too comedic, but it just didn't bother me. I love the character so much. I love the makeup, the way he looked. And plus, just think about it. He's attacking you in the one place you can't protect yourself, in your dreams. That's terrifying. And I've said it before. It's based off a true story. Wes Craven, the creator, read a newspaper article about a kid who was terrified about his dreams. He'd be thrashing in bed and everything. And finally, one night, his parents went in, saw he was asleep, concerned felt relieved that the nightmare was over. And then one night, he's in there thrashing and bumping, and they run in there, and he's dead. True story. And the medical doctors have no idea what killed him. They just don't know. To this day, as far as I know, they still don't know why he died. So, and they always say, the old classic thing, and they've said it in these movies, if you die in your dreams, you die for real. But Freddy, I love the look, the hat, the gloves, the sweater, the makeup, the voice, the acting, the comedy, the laugh. Everything about this character is so iconic. And it's a shame what has happened to this character, and it's because of that I had to take my own little stand. I still love Freddy Krueger, but you've taken some hits, some big hits. 5 years ago, you wouldn't be number 4 to me right now. I don't have a problem saying that. I would have put you probably at number 2 or 1, but you've taken too many hits, and I've got to be honest. I would have been in denial 5 years ago. I'm not going to be in denial about this here. You've taken too many hits. So for me, unfortunately, you got to be number 4, and it's a shame. But always remember, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, better lock your door. 5, 6, grab your crucifix. 7, 8, gonna stay up late. 9, 10, never sleep again. Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. I'm sorry, Freddy. I am so sorry. Number 3. A few years ago, this guy wouldn't have been up here. He'd have been a little further down. But things have happened for this character of late. And it's because of that, he shot past Freddy. He shot past Freddy, and I can't believe I just said it, but this character is on a high trend, and he was at his deepest lows. And to be where he is now, it's truly a miracle. Number 3 in this countdown is Michael Myers. Michael Myers. It's funny. I have the box set of the Nightmare on Elm Street. I have it on VHS. I have it on DVD. And I actually do want to get it on Blu-ray. Halloween, I don't own the box set. Not at all. And I have no intentions of ever owning this series box set. Not on Blu-ray, not on DVD. I wouldn't even want it on VHS. But I have the ones that I like. I have Halloween 1, the original. I have Halloween 2, the original, the Jamie Lee Curtis ones. I own Halloween 2018, and I will own Halloween Kills when it comes out on Blu-ray. This character has been through the ringer. It started out so well, and then we got Season of the Witch, which didn't even have him, and then we get the cults, and eventually one of the worst Halloween masks, the worst Halloween mask of all time, where he looked like a fucking alien. H2O, which I finally I've resolved myself with, but at the time I thought it was crap, and then I thought it was. I've resolved myself with that movie. It's good now. Halloween Resurrection. Oh man, that thing was so bad. And then that motherfucker Rob Zombie. What he did to it was an absolute crime. The first one was just a glorified remake and not a good one. And then that second one was just an abomination, a horrific acid trip. And that's not what we needed with Michael Myers. And I don't care how brutal he was or how big he was. The movie, fantasy horses and dumb. So when I heard they were remaking Halloween, I was scared to death. I'm like, here we go again. Is Rob Zombie a part of this? No. Okay, well, that's a chance. Jamie Lee Curtis is going to be in it. Okay. And then I finally watched it and amazed. Halloween Kills. Me and Eric did our review. You want to know what we thought? You can hop on this channel and you can watch the review of me and Eric reviewing the Halloween Kills movie. You can also hop on Third Generation Wrestling and watch it too. I suggest you watch both, even though it's the same video. Watch both, support both shows. This character has climbed out of the gutter and has just made it now. When this third one comes out next year, I mean it. This franchise could really jump up as far as franchises. It's approaching Nightmare on Elm Street levels with me. And I never thought that was going to happen. So we shall see. But this franchise has become amazing. And the fact that I got this over Freddy, it speaks volumes of this character, speaks volumes with what they're doing with him now. The filmmakers are doing such an excellent job with Michael Myers now. It's so great to see this character, and they're succeeding, and it's an honor to watch. So I'm proud to say that this is number 3, Michael Myers, Halloween. Freddy, you're taking a beating, man. You're just taking a beating. I'm sorry. The runner up is in some ways one of the more creepy, because it's not an alien. It's not some fictional creature. It's not an insane madman wearing a mask. It's a child who unfortunately has gotten possessed. That's right. Regan McNeil, played by Linda Blair from The Exorcist. I have already talked about The Exorcist last year on me and Eric when we did our favorite horror movies. So if you want to know what I think about The Exorcist, where it placed on my countdown, please go and listen to it. Didn't do any YouTube videos for that, so you have to go and listen to that one. Man, just a cute little kid, and what she turns into, absolutely terrifying. I mean, you're seeing the things that come out of this kid's mouth. Just an evil little kid, and then just the original. I mean, the world was stunned, shocked when this thing came out. I mean, people were going back to church. People were puking in the theater. I mean, this movie struck the world like no other. And then they re-released it when I worked at a movie theater. And I remember we all got together and we were going to watch this. It was like 1 or 2 in the morning because it was after the place had closed. So there was just us in there, and we watched this movie and spider walk and everything. It was a creepy. It was a creepy night after we watched it. That movie still affects. I watched this movie just a few days ago, and this movie still hits it. It is an excellent horror movie. And this character, which they would bring back for Exorcist 2, she'd be slightly older, teenager, if I remember right. Not as good, obviously, as the first one, but okay. It was an okay movie. I don't own it, but it's an okay movie. But the psychological horror that this character goes through, based off, of course, the well-known book. I mean, this character is pure evil, and it's a child. Children, we've seen it in things like Children of the Corn. Children have a remarkable way of being extremely creepy, way more creepy in some respects than adults can get. Very few adults can get to the level of creep that a child can actually get to in a movie. And Linda Blair did it in this movie. Cute little kid who would grow up to be an extremely attractive woman. Just hit it perfectly with this. This is one of the all-time most terrifying characters in horror, period. And it's a child. She props to her acting, to the writing. They did this right to make this character just live the test of time. She will live forever for this role. I don't know if that's something some people think is a good thing because of the things she was saying in this movie, but this is such a classic, and it of course spawned off so many possession movies, and it even spawned off a Liam Neeson spoofed Repossessed, which Linda Blair is actually in, which is just kind of funny. It just all adds. This is truly one of the greatest horror characters of all time, and big time props to Linda Blair for this. They found the right kid. Sometimes kids can be so annoying, and sometimes it just doesn't work in a movie. But man, when you find like Haley Joel Osment in The Sixth Sense, they found the right kid. Sometimes you can just find the right kid and it works. They did it here. Reagan McNeil from The Exorcist, number 2, the runner-up as far as my favorite horror characters. What's number 1? Well, let me take a sip here and then I will continue. Let's do just a quick rundown of how we got to number 1. Number 10 was Ghostface from the Scream movies and TV show. Number 9 is the Lost Boys from the Lost Boys movie. Number 8 was The Thing. 7 was the Alien, the Xenomorph from the Alien movies. 6 was Pennywise the Clown, the It creature. 5 was Jaws, the Great White Shark. 4 was Freddy Krueger from the Nightmare on Elm Street movies and TV show. Number 3, Michael Myers from the Halloween movies. And number 2 was Reagan McNeil from the movie The Exorcist. That leads us with number 1. Who is number 1? Let me just say this. I'm going to mention another runner-up, a couple more runner-ups. The Critters from the Critters movie. Yes, I know it's a stupid movie, but I love it. And Jigsaw from the Saw movies. Some of you might have thought Jigsaw was about to become number 1. That's why I didn't say him until now. There's only one person that should truly be number 1 in the horror genre. One of the most terrifying characters ever created in cinema. A character that was named the number 1 villain in movie history. This guy was. It is, of course, Dr. Hannibal Lecter. Dr. Lecter, played by several people, played the good doctor. But of course, the one that most people are familiar with is good old Anthony Hopkins. Anthony Hopkins will only go to his grave being known as this character. But this character has been portrayed by 4 different people. This character was portrayed by somebody completely different in different movies. And of course, there was the TV show. There was Manhunter, of course, the TV show, and Hannibal Rising, which is the basically Hannibal Begins kind of story. Through all of it, Hannibal Lecter has been a vile character, but Anthony Hopkins is the only one that ever captured it to me, as far as I'm concerned. I don't mind the character in Manhunter. Some people piss on that character, but the fact is, Lecter's not in the book that much. It's the Red Dragon book. He's not in it. Now, in the Red Dragon movie, they put Lecter in like 3 or 4 more times than he really is, but it's Anthony Hopkins. You don't just put him in 1 or 2 scenes. But Silence of the Lambs, I mean, when you first meet him, he's just standing there proper, and yet you can already tell he's the furthest one away from all these other nuts who are screaming and yelling and everything, and he's just calm. And at first you kind of think, why are you there? You just don't seem like you'd be that and then he starts talking, and then you look in those eyes, and then you automatically know, okay, yeah, there's something off about this guy. And what makes him even more terrifying is how smart he is. He's so intelligent. He is a genius. He's beyond that. It makes a character like this could actually exist, and that's what's even more terrifying. You can walk around and pretty much be confident there's no Freddy Kruegers or Michael Myers or Pennywise the clowns walking around. Yes, there's great white sharks, but unless you go in the water, you can avoid them. As far as Reagan McNeil demons, you can't see them, and a lot of people don't believe. So that's something you can kind of in your own face ignore, not have to deal with. Ghostface, anybody could put on the costume. So that could be just anybody. You never know. So that, I guess, could be a little more in the terrifying side. But this is just a regular doctor, a genius, a smart man who blends in very, very well. But he's absolutely, completely insane. He's a cannibal. He has no qualms on killing. He is just the most interesting character in cinematic history. And they found the right guy to do it and to play it. This character will live on forever. This character will never go away. There will be a day somewhere down the line that they will remake Silence of the Lambs. I know it. They're going to do it. On CBS, they're actually doing a Clarice show. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm curious about that show. But that just proves that the testament of this character. That show would not happen had it not been for Silence of the Lambs. And Silence of the Lambs was a hit because of Jodie Foster. It was a hit because of Jonathan Demme, the director, and it was a hit because of him, Anthony Hopkins, playing Hannibal Lecter. This this franchise would not be a franchise if it wasn't for Lecter. And that's just the facts, because Clarice isn't in every single one of these things. She's not. Lecter is. Lecter became the driving force after being a minor character the first time around. He then just shot to the top. This is a brutal, violent, disturbed, deranged, insane, intelligent, calculating, charming, polite kind of a character. He captures every possible aspect. He's a character you should be not liking in the least, but you would totally invite him to dinner. And unfortunately, saying that phrase is terrifying if he's the one preparing or bringing the food, because you don't know what or who you might be eating. But Hannibal Lecter, played by Anthony Hopkins, the quintessential Lecter. Of course, there was the TV show Hannibal, Manhunter, the movie with William Peterson, and Hannibal Rising, which is basically Hannibal Begins. But it all starts with this guy, Anthony Hopkins, Sir Anthony Hopkins, legendary actor, great portrayal, the voice, everything. This character is so terrifying, and that's why he was named AMI. I think it was I always forget the name of AMI. I think that's what it was. I think American Movie Institute, AMI. They named him the #1 movie villain of all time. Hannibal Lecter, #1 with a bullet or a knife, or however you slice it. He's #1 on this countdown. That's it. That's the countdown, folks. What do you think? Who are your favorite horror characters? Do you agree with my list? Disagree with my list? Do you have an opinion on some of these characters? Is there somebody I missed? Do you have your own list that you want to share with me? There are a lot of different ways you can get in touch with me and get in touch with the show, and they're all right there. So you can get a hold of me on through many different ways to share your ideas, to let me know what you think of the show, to let me know any improvements that you would make on the show, because goodness knows I need all the improvements I can get some days. But you can send an email. Let me get out of the way here so I can show you all these different methods. There you go. You can send me an email at thecountdown2020@gmail.com. You can go onto the Facebook page, just search at the Countdown 2020 Podcast 1. You can go on to Twitter, just search at the Countdown PO1. Go on Instagram, just search the Countdown 20. Go on Spotify, listen to all the episodes, just search the Countdown 2020. You can listen on Amazon Audible, just search the Countdown Podcast. I'm also on iHEART Radio, search the Countdown Podcast. All the episodes are released through Podbean, so just search the Countdown Podcast, or you can go to the website connected to Podbean for the archive, thecountdown2020.podbean.com. And of course, if you're watching this right now, which I hope you are, you already know I'm on YouTube. Just search the Countdown Podcast with MJ Book, and select episodes are available on YouTube for you to watch and listen to. There's also audio episodes on there. Just recently started doing a new YouTube exclusive content, the mini count, in which I counted down my 5 favorite Halloween movies. I've gotten some good compliments about the mini count type thing, so that's something I'm going to keep doing. Any ideas you have for the show, if there's something you want me to count down, you have any ideas at all, you want to just talk to me, say, hey, what's up? Maybe you want to do a countdown with me. Please use those avenues to get in touch with me. I try to always respond to any comments that I get. I do get comments, and people are joining and liking the show, and I greatly appreciate it. As I always say, if you're a professional wrestling fan, definitely want to listen to Third Generation Wrestling, hosted by the real Big E Eric and the Ambassador Rob. I'm, of course, a contributor on there as well as the good brother Blake and the Doctor of Wordonomics himself, talking wrestling, talking movies, recently horror movies. We got Full Gear coming out with AEW, because that's going to be next week. That snuck up on all of us. Survivor Series coming up with WWE, and we're going to continue our Rocky series, the Rock movie series. I think the next one is the Rundown. So please listen to Third Generation Wrestling. They talk about the world of wrestling, movies, AWA, AEW, sorry, AEW, WWE, NXT, and many different things involving wrestling. So listen to them. Like I said earlier, I was on Buzzing with Marlo. We talked about comic book movies, DC and Marvel. Please listen to his show. He's a former wrestler, indie wrestler. So it's good to hear that opinion about wrestling from somebody who's done it. But it's not just wrestling. It could be about sports, life. It could be many different topics. It's just a couple guys just talking, and it's a good show, good host. Definitely want to search for Buzzing with Marlo. All you have to do is type Buzzing with Marlo, and you can find him. He's on Facebook, and you can find him. Just type the name. And do want to thank Kevin MacLeod for the use of his music, Ice Flow, Incomtech.com. Did you hear at the beginning of the episodes and at the end? Of course, at the start of this episode, I did play John Carpenter's Halloween theme, Cody Carpenter and Daniel Davies. I want to give them their rights. And that's all I got for you. I'm about to go watch the World Series soon, and I will catch you all again on the next episode of The Countdown. Have yourself a great day or evening, whatever time it is. Bye-bye. And happy Halloween. Have a great one. Bye-bye.